From across Africa, they come with dreams. At Academic City, they find purpose.
I am from Nigeria. Studying computer science here has opened my mind to the world of innovation.
As a parent, seeing my daughter thrive at ACity gives me peace of mind.
ACity didn't just teach me skills, it gave me the confidence to lead change.
A world-class faculty, hands-on learning, a campus that inspires bold thinking. Join a community building Africa's future today. Academic City University, educating future-ready leaders.
Class of 2025, I am excited to extend my congratulations to you. Today represents a new chapter in your lives. As you stand on the threshold of this new journey, I need to remind you of the historical feat that this moment represents in the history of our university. You are pioneers. The first chapter of Academic City's graduating class since presidential charter.
Today we are here to look for talents. And you may ask, what are we looking out for? I know they are students and they don't have all the qualities or skills that we might be looking out for. But what we look out for is someone who is open-minded, a student who is eager, willing, passionate to learn, explore.
It's not my first time in a career fair, but my first time in Academic City University. I had high hopes because we have some of your students currently with us, and formation reaching me, they are also going very well. So I was expecting a lot of students, and we could see that the information from them, the sort of questions they're asking, very, very good questions.
It's been an awesome experience. They showed up in their numbers and then they came with more confidence as the day went on. We got the opportunity to speak to a number of students across various year groups. So I can say that we have a number of CVs which we took. We're looking forward to working with them.
The most impressive candidate I've seen today was a master's student from Academic City. She was doing a master's in data analytics, and she's built models on cost management, on income prediction, and it was very innovative to see how she was applying what she was learning in school. And because we're also looking at advancing our company and looking at how these models can play an important role in industry, it was interesting to see that Academic City has slots like that for students to grow and then explore their passion. So that's the most interesting person I came across today.
I think last year we had a couple of them coming into Felisol, Ghana. One person I can pinpoint who stood out for me is Christian. I think Christian had to be with us for a while, I think 2 months, for which we had to even ask him to stay on for another month. And 3 things stood out for me with Christian: someone who knows what he really wants in the business. And he's someone who was very committed to the task that is being assigned to him. Not just that, but also he had a hunger to do more stuff in the business. So that stood out for me when it comes to Christian. And I see that more with the Academic City students who happen to be with us, very committed to the task they were doing and very apt to it.
The fair has been engaging and exciting. A key takeaway from this career is that networking is good and making more connections will build a bigger future for you.
My experience at the career fair was very engaging. It was quite fun. So going to the career workshops this semester has really helped. We talked about elevator pitch, how you can communicate and market yourself to these companies. You just have to be yourself. You don't really have to be over sophisticated. Just be yourself. Talk to them about your strengths and weaknesses.
So the job experience I've had at Recom Tech has helped me understand that there's always something to learn on the job, because working with the marketing team, the HR team, whilst also providing customer service solutions to other businesses. And so I've understood that even with my career plans, whether I am retained or I find another experience in another company, I know
From across Africa, they come with dreams. At Academic City, they find purpose.
I am from Nigeria. Studying computer science here has opened my mind to the world of innovation.
As a parent, seeing my daughter thrive at ACity gives me peace of mind.
ACity didn't just teach me skills, it gave me the confidence to lead change.
A world-class faculty, hands-on learning, a campus that inspires bold thinking. Join a community building Africa's future today. Academic City University, educating future-ready leaders.
Class of 2025, I am excited to extend my congratulations to you. Today represents a new chapter in your lives. As you stand on the threshold of this new journey, I need to remind you of the historical feat that this moment represents in the history of our university. You are pioneers, the first chapter of Academic City's graduating class since presidential charter.
From across Africa, they come with dreams. At Academic City, they find purpose.
I am from Nigeria. Studying computer science here has opened my mind to the world of innovation.
As a parent, seeing my daughter thrive at ACity gives me peace of mind.
ACity didn't just teach me skills, it gave me the confidence to lead change.
We've been waiting since afternoon and finally the time is here. We say that late cooking does not mean going to bed hungry. And so finally we have the Minister for Education who is here to share a few nuggets of wisdom with us in terms of leadership. And without much ado, I want to quickly call on the Minister for Education, our guest lecturer for today, to take the stage. Thank you very much.
Hi. So, I'm just correcting something before I... So, if you want, you can describe me as the rural member of parliament for Tamale South. I am the MP for Tamale South in the northern region of Ghana. I have been working for the Parliament of Ghana as member of parliament in the last 21 years. So I've been in the Parliament of Ghana those days with Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, John Dramani Mahama, Prof. Do Ajaho, Joseph Henry Mensah, J.H. Mensah, very brilliant minority leader and politician who spoke with vigor and honor. So my honor and pleasure today to come for us to share a few thoughts on leadership. And first, to apologize to you for coming in late. President Mahama was launching the no fee stress policy for persons with disability. That is part of my schedule as minister responsible for education. And he was doing it in honor of a major campaign promise he made to the people of Ghana in the run-up to the 2024 elections. So if I failed you with time, I was providing leadership somewhere. Did you hear that? I was providing leadership somewhere. So who is a leader? You know, this is an academic institution. So I should have come adequately prepared, maybe to refer you to Max Weber's theory of leadership. So that I would have taken you through memory lane of what Max Weber, the sociologist, said about leaders, charismatic leaders or altruistic leaders. Do you remember that in your sociology? Have you come across that? He says that leadership or a charismatic leader is a gift of grace. That's Weber's thinking of a leader. And he says that there are leaders who can place the good of society and the public against their selfish need. That is the category of leaders he called the altruistic leaders.
Then there is a category Max Weber speaks about, which is egoistic leaders. You know, ego. It's me, it's me, it's me. Ego. They are waxing pride and honor. Max Weber spoke about them several centuries ago. So, but simply at your level, when they say a leader, it's simply a person with influence, full stop. A leader is any person who exudes influence, motivates and guides others to decisions. That will qualify as an elementary definition of what a leader is. A leader must have empathy, he must have compassion, so that the trouble or pain of that other person becomes his pain. So amongst you, if any of you get sick, there's one of you who would always care about that other sick person. So through empathy, he's providing what? Leadership. He provides care to reach out to a person who is in need. Then a leader communicates well. So for those of us who have some little American training, so you learn it today, brevity. It's not about speaking for long and saying too many things which means nothing. Part of leadership is to be brief, concise, and to the point. That's brevity. So in some instances, you may see some people who use 30 minutes for a speech. If I were the person, I'll use 10 or 5 minutes for the same speech. That's brevity. What message do you want to convey? So a leader, a good leader can also be a good word, communicator. But for our purpose today, let me relate leadership to two sectors of Ghana. There are leaders in the informal sector, and there are leaders in the formal sector of Ghana. So what is formal? What is informal? In the formal sector, maybe you want to define the organs of government. So President Mahama is a leader of the executive arm of government. The acting Chief Justice, when it was Tokonu, she was providing leadership in leading an arm of what? Government. Albert Sumane Bagbin is providing leadership in leading an arm of what? Government. That's leadership in the formal what? Sector. So when you go to elections, you are vesting your trust in them to provide what? Leadership. One, that leadership, you are saying that manage our country resources well. So when you vote a president, vote President Mahama, vote Haruna Iddrisu MP, vote Ahia for MP, you are simply saying that I'm entrusting you with my faith and trusting that you would manage the resources of the country what? Well. So that's the leadership. So every leader has some followers. Is it not true? So for every leader, you are more likely to have what? Followers. But the followers is a function of the guidance and the motivation you give. So if you are a bad leader, you are likely every other time to be losing your spectators, your cheers. They will leave you because you are not providing what? Leadership. So in Ghana, if we are to look at the formal structure of Ghana, so I've moved away from your academic realm where I would have quoted, as I said, Max Weber. Max Weber provides one of the most lucid sociological definition and explanation of leadership. He does. So you have to go, after today, I'll give you a reference. Just Google or go and read any sociological literature on Max Weber on leadership. You will come across what I said, altruistic leadership, egoistic leadership, and then he explains that some leaders are born and given the grace of a gift known as what? Charisma. So charismatic leaders are more likely to be orators. There are those who sway you. Like your SRC president here, I'm sure the day he came to speak to you about his manifesto, he was waxing a lot of good English in order that he can influence you to elect him. So that is in the formal sector. So you have the Chief Justice. What is the expectation of a Chief Justice? To deliver justice without fear or favor in a manner that is independent of any other person. So you are putting your trust. So if Ghana has a Chief Justice, that Chief Justice becomes the leader. So even for you, you must learn the principle of hierarchy. And you must learn the principle of unity of what? Command. So if you come and take, for instance, the Ghana Armed Forces, who is our leader? The president. I didn't say the Chief of Defense Staff. Did you hear that? I could have. In the military parlance, their most superior person is the Chief of Defense Staff. But by virtue of the president being commander-in-chief, he becomes the leader of the Ghana Armed Forces. But the person next to him, who is responsible for protecting the territorial integrity. So if you want a leader in Ghana who is responsible to protect our territorial integrity, is a Chief of Defense Staff. And then the army and all its branches. But they all look up to the president. Now maybe I should reveal this. You know, normally in America or the US as you call it, they will not allow for a vacuum to their president or leader even for 5-10 minutes. You know why? Because at any time they may have to declare war. And it's only the commander-in-chief and the president who can declare war. So they call it a constitutional interregnum. That void is always avoided. Ghana, that's why you say that when the president is traveling, the vice president should act. When the vice president is traveling, then you have the Speaker of Parliament act. When the Speaker of Parliament is acting and also traveling, then the Chief Justice. To avoid that, to avoid what we call a leadership void, is avoided at all times in the establishment of the country. So you have, we two members of Parliament, another layer of your leaders. And what kind of leaders are we if we are members of Parliament? We are saying we should go and pass good legislation. Period. Good laws. So the onus or responsibility you impose on your elected members of Parliament is that they should pass good laws. Exercise good oversight over the executive. So I'll digress more so that we have an intellectual debate. But Ghana, your parliament, if I say they will charge me for contempt of parliament, is a very impotent parliament. Impotent because it is not able to exercise oversight well. It cannot hold the executive responsible. So it's impotent. Wither away the influence of Parliament. So let me take you to controversy. You can disagree with me. That's what makes it an intellectual debate. So you see, currently, Ghana is grappling with LGBTQ law and scoring who did right, MPP versus NDC. The Ghanaian people want the youth to preserve their culture, their values, period. What the Ghanaian people are asking for, it's not about NDC or MPP. Is that, are you preserving our cultural heritage? Are you preserving our values? This one, when I use it, don't record it for my purposes. Have you seen a male goat marry a male goat? Or a male good. So it's only natural. In fact, the Supreme Court, so don't record this one. It's for the humor of it. So take that one out. But it lets you, to let you understand what you want. You want a law which doesn't make your child tomorrow think that she is a boy, she wants to marry a girl, or a girl to marry a boy. Simple. then Ghana's parliament, we fail you, and then we are scoring who is right, who is wrong. Are you interested in right and wrong? You want a good law. And you want a law which preserves your values as a people and your heritage as a people. So when you come from the president, you come to a layer of members of parliament, then you come to ministers of state. So for instance, minister responsible for education. What does that mean to you? It means I am to provide leadership in the provision of education for the people of Ghana, not my family. Did you hear that? For the people of Ghana. So in the pursuit of policy, in the distribution of resources, I should be minded that every Ghanaian deserves it, because the Constitution guarantees equal educational opportunity for all. So how do you give meaning to equal educational opportunities for all? When you are, forgive me, you are in private universities paying more, some are in public institutions paying less, as a paradox. Yet you are all what? Ghanaians. Is it that you opted for quality? Or is it that the facilities were not enough for you to benefit from it? Then the responsibility shifts to me to correct it as a wrong. That ordinarily and in an ideal situation, every Ghanaian must be entitled to the full benefits of the rights and freedoms guaranteed under the Constitution, including the right to education. Then the informal sector. An assemblyman is also a leader, even though a formal sector, because he goes through an elected office, serves a particular community. If you go to the ACity Kingdom, Otunfo, leader, extraordinary, they don't have none compared to him. He defines the values and cultures of the Asante people, represent them, and provide leadership. So in his jurisdiction, he exercises authority, executive, legislative, administrative, economic. Until you had formal structures, he was in charge. Is it not true? So he's providing what? Leadership. That's not to say that I'm not recognizing some, if you are an Odikro or a paramount chief elsewhere, you're also providing leadership. Then we come to your level. NUC's elections, SRC election, you are choosing your leaders. And now even when you elect SRC president, the embezzlement starts at this age. So when you embezzle at this age, how are you going to preserve the resources of Ghana tomorrow? So leaders have integrity. And I urge you all to grow up without negotiating that value of what? Integrity. It's all you have. It's all you have as young people in preparing for the future. If there's anything worth preserving, upholding, and living your life with, is integrity. I can't do it. I won't do it. It is not available. You know, my mother taught me that if you lie in the morning, you have to lie in the afternoon to keep the lie, and lie in the evening to keep the morning lies. So you put yourself in a difficulty. So integrity. So leaders are also fair and just. So I'll give you this example. Maybe Alaji in the cab, what's their name? Your name? Maybe Muhammad, for some reason, did not come for lectures today. Maybe on the way, an accident, or on the way, illness, he got into hospital. Then his good friend, what's your name? Sean comes to tell President Bagon Luri that Muhammad is a truant. He is an absentee. He doesn't like school. Then Mark Bagon Luri, the president, sanctions Muhammad without hearing him, without hearing Sean. That's unfair to natural justice. So as a leader, fairness is a rule. So at least before president of the school will exercise sanctions against Muhammad, he must hear what? Muhammad, why didn't you come to school? He can't just hear Sean saying he failed to come to school and conclusive. He is a truant, he is an absentee. So leaders uphold what? Integrity. Leaders demand fairness and what? Justice. So those of you who want to learn law, I see a lawyer accompanying me from my office. One of the most important maxims of equity is that he who seeks equity must do equity. And he who comes to equity must come with clean hands. You are saying that they shouldn't pour water on the floor. Then you are bathing on the floor. Is that equity? So if you want equity, do what? Equity. So we have leaders in the formal sector and we have leaders in the informal sector. So I've dealt with the president, formal sector, chief justice, formal sector, speaker of parliament, MPs, ministers, also in the formal sector. Then you come to the informal sector. I said our traditional rulers are leaders in their own word, right? Those of you who have read Ghana's constitution, before independence, chiefs exercise executive, legislative, economic functions. That was leadership they were providing. In fact, in many societies today, even if you still do wrong, they will report you to the chief palace. That's leadership. And you go and answer. Sometimes you have to carry cola, and sometimes they will sanction you to come with a goat or a cow. So that leads me to the other world. Good leaders, they are not corrupt. You know, when you go to greet our palaces, when you go to Europe and America, and let me use the example of the Dagbang culture. That's where I come from. So there was a day, some number of chiefs went to greet maybe the overlord of Dagbang. I just want to teach you and share with you the Ghanaian cultural perspective of transparency. So when they went to greet the chief, they were carrying two animals, maybe a cow and a goat, or add a sheep. And it was meant for the chief. So don't think that Europe and America, they came and taught us transparency and honesty. No. So when they got to the chief palace, they tied the cow, tied the sheep, and tied the goat. Then the person who was carrying it, maybe he wanted a benkwine at home, wanted to carry the goat home instead of declaring it to the chief. So he came and told the chief that, as we were tiring it, we succeeded in tiring the cow and then the sheep. Then the goat ran with the rope. Legitimately, he wants to take the goat home. But at least he's transparent to the chief. Is that not transparency? Or is crooked transparency? But at least, I want you to learn, apart from transparency, he is sincere. Is there no sincerity in it? It's crooked sincerity. So avoid that as young people growing up. Be straight. Let your word be impeccable. So I rather would prefer to answer questions so that I can elucidate more. So, but as I said, if you want a sociological academic definition of leadership, go to Max Weber. If you want a simple definition of a leader, it's simply a person with influence who motivates others and has control over others. So maybe
yes,
I can keep it here. I'll be happy to answer 10 questions.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So thank you.
So
thank you very much for tolerating me.
So 10 questions, that's a lot. As the moderator, I was going to take only 5. but he's added 5 more. So if you have a question, quickly raise your hand. Just one question per person. Okay, so we'll take the first 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes.
Good evening, Honorable Haruna Iddrisu. My name is Eugene Nate, and you made mention of something important that was dealing with leadership void. In your time as Member of Parliament, you have had experiences of where leadership void, for example, the passing of Atta Mills in 2012, and also a passing of a few of your colleague MPs along the way. How are you able to handle it, especially in Parliament and even in government?
Thank you very much for this. Thank you very much for this opportunity, Honorable. My name is Mami Ifia Owusu. Honorable, usually when a new government comes to power, right from an old government, we usually see patterns of projects initiated projects which do not get completed. However, under this new administration, I believe our dear President, John Dramani Mahama, mentioned that the free SHS policy is going to be reviewed and made better. And so as someone who passed through the free SHS system, I would like to know of the current measures being put in place to make things much better for the coming generation. Thank you.
Please, good evening, Honorable. I'm Usman Abdul Latif, a proud member of the Tamale North constituency and a proud member of Academic City University. Okay, Honorable, the question I have for you is that a situation where leadership, as a young boy coming from Tamale, I've seen that leadership is preserved for the elderly. But if you check Article 35, Clause 6D of the 1992 Constitution, which emphasizes leadership as they have role in national development. So, Honorable, the question I have is that what are some of the measures are you going to put in place for this youth to also have the opportunity to lead in future? Honorable, if you check Article 35, Clause 8 of the 1992 Constitution, which emphasizes that we have to fight against corruption and bring accountability. Honorable, the question I have for you is that what are some of the advice we have for we the youth upcoming to avoid or prevent us from what? Going into corruption. Thank you very much.
Thank you for this opportunity. My name is Jacob Nilante Badu. I'm a proud Academic City student, level 200 computer science student. My question is more about how Ghana is moving towards the digital era. I can see that we are putting in place different things such as the electric vehicles, training students to be more aware on how to use technology. My question is that how is the education system going to be restructured to catch up to the Western standards in the incoming AI and cybersecurity threats that would come in the coming years?
So I take this for, I'll come back, don't worry, I still have some time. I can be around here till 10 minutes to 7. So I start with the easiest of your question, which is the digital question. You see, Ghana, in training you, even in this institution of Academic City, the president, faculty, heads of departments, your lecturers must accept one reality. And that reality is you are being trained for the competitive global world of work. Not Ghana, not Accra, not Kumasi. That when you leave this institution, you are comparable to any other graduate of computer science anywhere in the world. But there are times that I've chaired an interview panel before. There are times that during interviews, you will be disappointed in the performance. Forgive me. So if you are doing an interview of somebody, maybe economics, he is to be head of economics. Then he comes in and you ask him what is the equilibrium price, and he is struggling. Will you want to employ such a person? But we've seen a trend of that nature where subject matter, I mean, like I chaired Parliament's HR committee, I believe, for about 4 years. And during interviews, we would dedicate questions to subject matter. If you say, I read management, we definitely will ask you questions relating and pertaining to management. If it's current affairs, you can be forgiven. I'll share this. There was a day we were doing interviews. We said somebody should name the first female Chief Justice of Ghana. The interviewee labored, yet a graduate of Ghana. At least that you should know. So, digital education is important, and digital education is the future. My concern in Ghana is, are we truly investing in digital education? I'm Minister for Education. This year I haven't bought any computer for any school. Many of the schools have no electricity, not even its connection. Many of the schools have no access to data or internet. Then you say digital education. With digital education? So we must invest first in the IT infrastructure as government. Deploy it. Then you can have use to it. So that would be my question. Now to the lady, free senior high school review. It needs a review. An educational system where, and this is not, what I'm going to share with you is a real story. A colleague of mine went to report me somewhere. That Haruna is not doing well with placement. He's Minister for Education. We don't have access to placement. So he called me in the evening. He was on television. So when he called, I picked. And I said, oh, leader, my placement. Then I asked him, aggregate. When he said 40, my phone fell down. But it's a true story. So, protocol versus merit. So even if I want to do merit, 40. Are you getting the difficulty we are going through? When I said that, why should aggregate 6 go to an A school? I got some very negative commentary on social media, but I enjoyed it. But hear me. Manka 37. 6 plus 6, 12 plus 6, 18 plus 6, 24 plus 6, 32. Ade, you are not within that range. But there is also evidence of students who got aggregate 30 who are doing better than some people who got 6 and 12. That's where the paradox is. But in most situations where assessment is relevant and important, if you don't have 6, you don't have 6. You don't enter the same train with somebody with 20 or 24. On merit, that's why you conducted an exam. That's why you had an assessment. Now, placement. I'm struggling now to build category A schools. I was briefing the president. I said, Northeast region, there's no category A school. Savannah, no category A school. OT, no category A school. Western North, no category A school. So how are you providing equitable education when a portion of the population simply don't have access. They don't have it. So we have to be deliberate to convert a few C schools to B, a few B to A, and expand the A. Look at Achimota School with all the land. What are we keeping it for? Achimota can even become a university. From kindergarten, let them build the structure into a university. So that when a child starts Achimota, he can see the walls of the university and walk to the work of wealth. Let them make use of their wealth. But public officials, forgive me, are interested in Achimota land. That's wrong. That's wrong. You want to sell it to yourselves when the school wants land? That's not acceptable. So to provide leadership, we should avoid grabbing things which are meant for the state and the republic. So I've attempted to answer that question. Then my friend who was quoting article. My friend, the lawyer, some rights in the Constitution. So a little law for you. Some rights in the Constitution are not justiciable. They are not enforceable. When you go to court, you are likely to fail because the law is reasonable. It says, subject to the availability of resources, the state shall provide. Then the state tells you, I don't have the resources. So that's why it's painful when the resources are being misused. That's why it hurts. So, for instance, right to employment. Yes, the Constitution guarantees you right to employment. But can you enforce it? No. It's not justiciable. As even the Constitution employ, that's why you must have been educated. You are not educated and you want to be employed. Is it possible? But that leads me to a very important issue the lady raised. So go to the 92 Constitution and do some reading. Under the directive principles of state policy, successive governments are enjoined to continue projects initiated by the previous government. It's provided unambiguously in the text of the Constitution. So those who disrespect it are disrespecting the laws of Ghana. So if you see a president and a parliament, I hope that you don't mind. I can do some politics. You won't say my oblong head. I share it with you. So I know that you share different political persuasions. So you heard President Nana Addo Dankwa in Brussels when he was speaking, and he said that one of his painful moments as president, which he, in his words, he described as his dark hour, was debt exchange. So hold it there. Debt exchange. What brought about debt exchange? Excessive borrowing. How did he borrow excessively? Because Parliament failed to exercise oversight in limiting his power to borrow. Article 181. That's all. The Constitution gives Parliament every power to tell a president that Adai, Jaisa, leave it as some. The Constitution. Read Article 181. No loan. Even today, you are talking about Galamsey. Read Article 268. Every natural and mineral resource of the state is vested in the president. Why? Because he must preserve it for the good and trust of the people of Ghana. And so you look at Ghana. MPP now, those of you who are, they feel free, we are having a discussion. Now a certain group says that declare state of emergency. When you were sitting there, why didn't you declare state of emergency? Then another one is saying that I won't hear. There will be a day you want an opportunity to hear, they won't talk to you again. Are you getting the paradox? So we have a duty to preserve it. So that answers the other question, and I come to the other question, which was more free senior high school. Free senior high school. So I'll put the mic down before I'll say what I'll say, so that you don't record me. Me, if I have my way, there must be a cut-off aggregate 20. Agree or disagree? You don't? Good. So that's the debate. From Pandai or Ziblins Village. Achimota. Agreed. So that's why I didn't use my mic. I'll hear you. And that's the debate. So we'll continue the debate. No, agreed. But I say I would have reviewed it because then what's the essence of assessment? Then don't conduct exams again. Anyway, it's a debate. So I pay my watchman. I don't pay, my watchman doesn't pay. Is that equity? You get it. So maybe we should have done a means test, but agreed. So I've withdrawn my 25 cutoff point. That's why I haven't implemented it. It may not be popular, is it? So I'll take another batch of questions. If I've forgotten something, you can remind me.
Yes, so the next 4 questions, just raise it. 1, 2, 3, 4. So, okay.
Okay. Thank you very much. I'm Mohammed Yassin. You said that the people in parliament, we, the Ghanaians, have entrusted our faith in them for them to lead us. But at times you see them in parliament fighting and all that. So how do they exhibit leadership? Because if we've been able to, we believe in them that they are leaders, they can lead our way, they can lead the way forward. And they go there to fight, throw punches and insults at each other. What do they spell out to we who have entrusted our faith in them?
Okay. Yeah, my name is Elliot Aketi. Yeah, so I want to ask, what's your personal vision for the education sector in Ghana? What do you want to do so that if you leave the office, you'll be remembered for?
Hi, my name is Inshura. So, as the current leader of Ghana's education system, many high schools still require both boys and girls to cut their hair short in the name of discipline and uniformity. Some argue that it is outdated and may affect how students, especially girls, develop confidence and a sense of identity. So my question is, don't you think it's time to review this traditional policy? And can't we find a way to maintain discipline while allowing girls to keep their hair neat and presentable?
Hello, so my name is Alicia Osei, and I wanted to say that I think that the Ministry of Education is one of the most important ministries in the country. So my question to Honorable is, do you have any plans of restructuring the educational system in such a way that Ghanaian students are being trained to solve Ghanaian problems? Thank you.
So after this, the last 4, then so the last question is the easiest. Which ties into the education vision. Do I have plans to restructure the education system? No. I've inherited a free senior high school that I've been so encouraged to keep. So in keeping it, I'll run it from kindergarten to primary 6, to JSS, to higher education. So in terms of timelines, my view is that if a child gets to grade 3 and cannot read and write, then there's a problem with the teacher and the school. Grade 3, literacy and numeracy, he's still struggling. No matter how rural it is, the child must be responsive. Now, what we are lacking is infrastructure. So, for instance, you are all blaming me, Haruna Iddrisu, you are not doing well, placement, parents don't have access to Achimota and Eburi girls. Have I built a classroom in Eburi or Achimota to admit any additional student? So, to resolve it, is to expand the infrastructure in Achimota. So if you give Achimota 2 more dormitories, 2 more classrooms, quality improvement or with good teachers, they can double their numbers next year. And Fancy Pim, Eburi can do same. Then you come to Pandai, Wura Secondary, Abotima Secondary, you give them the same thing. So aggressive infrastructure development remains my priority as minister. In fact, next year, I'm working very hard, if I get resources, to be able to convert 10 category C schools to B, 10 category B schools to A, and expand facilities in the A schools. So that into next year, depending upon 10, 12 months, when there's admissions, I can sleep. You know, during the time of placement, I avoid my office. When you come, there's a queue up to the stairs. Everybody's looking for a minister with aggregate 40 to get an Achimota or Aburi school to go when he knows that the student haven't fared well or passed well. So, do you know the definition of a category A school? A school which is oversubscribed. It is not about what... I saw a student from Kade Secondary who topped a science course without a laboratory. I've seen that happen. So I agree with you that we need to deal with that. Now, fighting in Parliament, not, you know, I grew up knowing humility as a value. And if you want to share my philosophy, where I get my humility from, I can tell you today. But it is not so. The Honorable Oseichi Mensah Bonsu, up till this evening, is more my brother than a friend, even though he was a majority leader. Best friend, diligent member of parliament, diligent lawmaker. Che will read every line of every legislation and correct every I and T. You can't take that away from him, even if he's in opposition. You get it? So personal relations, we can all work to improve it. Self-respect and respecting each other is what is more. So as you are growing up, you and Sean, the same academic city, then tomorrow you become minister, you see Sean and you want to behave like you are some angel. What has changed? You were in academic city with Sean. Forgive me, probably maybe you were not better than him or he was not better than you. So service, leadership should be about what? Service. And then service to the country. So I don't think that in parliament, but you are right to a greater extent. In Ghana, the problem with parliament is what we call the adversarial politics of the 1992 constitution. The winner takes away all. So when there is power shift, you shut the door to the other political party. So MPP have 65 in parliament, 0. NDC had 1060. So we have to rethink the adversarial polity. If you ask my view as Haruna Iddrisu, the best system of government for Ghana will be the South African model of a democracy. I think so. We should take proportional representation. Anybody, depending on your strength in parliament, you go home with something. That will lead to a holistic development of the country. But that will require a review of the constitution. I've heard many other people argue that so I'm a good example. So should I use myself as an example? Haruna Minister, Haruna MP. And that's why oversight is not strong. To a large extent, that is true. But go and read about Kenya and the Kenyan constitution of 2010. The fine politician who died, Odinga, he led the revolution for the changes to the Kenyan constitution. They decoupled, but it has not served them well. So maybe Ghana can learn from that example. So I've attempted to answer that. Then the almighty question of haircut. Why? In academic city, do they tell you what haircut to come with? Answer. Do they? So why are you in a haste? At secondary school, you want to walk in with your hair. We will not tolerate it today. We won't tolerate it tomorrow. we We won't tolerate it today. We won't tolerate it tomorrow. It's part of the discipline. Other than that, you will start telling us what shoes you want to wear to come to school. At that level, you want to choose for us what dresses you wear? No. Look, it is your formative year of learning and training. When you get to academic city, dress the way you want. Isn't it so? But at primary JSS, it can be unpopular, but me, I won't change it. Maybe a different minister will come and change it. As long as I remain Minister for Education, the hair principle will be strictly enforced. Look, young girls, latitude, why? Grow up. Grow up. When you are an adolescent girl, adult girl, you have all the freedom you want. Don't forget that at that early stage of life, we are still molding your character. The teacher and mother are still molding your character. So come to academic city, look at your hair you are wearing. Is anybody worrying and questioning you? But at that level, discipline is important. Today you are taking hair. If we grant hair, tomorrow they say, no. We can't be wearing yellow or green or pink. Change it for us. Then when we change, they say now shoes, we should be allowed to wear whatever we want. We won't grant it. That's my answer. So whether it's outdated or not, so long as it meets the requirement of discipline, it will be enforced. We are not there to please you or to make you happy. Then you want to come to school and show us your hairstyle. No. At that level, we are not interested in your hairstyle at that level. So next batch of questions. And it's a final batch. Professor Drew has joined me. He is Professor of Education and my advisor. Will you advise me to review the haircut?
All right, so the last batch of questions, just 4 of them. You've asked the question already. So 1, 2, 3. Christian, 4. All right. So Christian. Hi.
Honorable Minister, I have a question for you. My name is Christian, by the way. How do you plan as Education Minister on stopping the shame of cheating in the nation's secondary schools during the BAC exams?
Honorable Minister, my name is Philip Carol Aqua, and I remember a couple years ago in Level 100, we did a project on the AFCFTA, and I did a lot of research into that. And then the initial goal was to repeat what I said. Okay, my name is Philip Carol Aqua, and I remember in Level 100, we did a project on the AFCFTA, the African Free Trade Area. And its initial goal was to make the whole continent of Africa something similar to the EU. And I was wondering how the advent of this free trade area and then the various policies that would come from it would affect the education sector as a whole.
There were 2 hands here.
Good evening. My name is Amanda Matthew, and I have a question. So how does the ministry plan to measure the effectiveness of teacher training programs in enhancing the quality of education, and what opportunities exist for community advocates to support in these initiatives?
Good evening, Honorable Iddrisu. My name is Abeku Oto, and I would like to ask if the Ministry of Education has something in place to bridge the gap between vocational education and our grammar educational institution, because if you go to regions like Western North, some people have put in place initiatives to bridge that gap. But then when they are seeking accreditation from bodies like CTVET, it takes months for accreditations to come. So does the Ministry of Education have something in mind to address that?
So, first is on TVET. The last question, technical and vocational education. In all honesty, if there is any area in education I like to leave my footprint, it will be in the TVET space, so that we can create it as an alternative path to ending emphasis on theoretical education to practical hands-on skill, in order that we can equip young people with the skills that they need for jobs. You've heard me publicly talk about a TVET fund. If I have my way, I'll establish a TVET fund. I'll dedicate 2.5% of oil revenue to TVET. Then it can look at it and look at even the national accreditation program. We should expand it across the country. A few months ago, I was in Japan, and I visited the Japan Institute of Technology. Then subsequently, after a month, I'm sure Inusa, you were with me in one of those trips. We went to the Japan Institute of Technology, Kozen. That was their concept. So I'm trying to convert the Accra Technical Institute into a Japanese Kozen and borrow what has worked well in Japan into Ghana in terms of their vocational technical education. So we have to emphasize it. But you see, you tell somebody that he's a carpenter, then he hasn't seen a sword, he hasn't seen plywood, and you're just training carpentry in a theoretical way. So we have to expand access, build infrastructure, and equip it sufficiently. So I agree with you that we have to emphasize technical and vocational education. It's one of my priorities as minister, and we have to build it across the country. Then the second question is African trade. You know, Africans, you like pretending. And your pretense is legendary. As we are speaking today, tomato paste from Ghana cannot go to Nigeria. Cement from Ghana cannot go to Nigeria. So what is free trade? Those artificial barriers are real. We have not worked to dismantle them. I'm told that trade between Africa itself is enough for us. So as Africans, like some writers said, we are the only continent which has suffered 3 traumatic events in a row: slavery, colonialism, and growing racism. Traumatic events, 3. We alone. We suffered slavery. After slavery came colonialism. After colonialism is now continuous racism. Yet the EU, 27 countries. I was with one of the leaders of Ghana in Yamoussoukro over 10 years ago, when we went to talk about the ECHO for West Africa. As of yesterday, there's no ECHO, so it means there's no commitment, there's no political will. This was far back, 10 years, a decade. They spoke about the Euro. They've done that. The European Parliament, they've done that. Your parliament, ECOWAS Parliament, South Africa Parliament, Pan-African Parliament, also impotent parliaments. What impact do they have on continental matters? African free trade, continental free trade, we should credit the late John Atamios for it. The African continental free trade. I think I accompanied him to Ethiopia the year he presented that as his vision for Africa, then came home and passed on. So those of you who want to follow chronology of events, the African free continental trade matter was something championed by the late John Evans Atamios. Allow me to have done my part. The building they are in Accra, I think I built it as Minister for Trade and Industry, where they are housed. The Ghana Exim home, I undertook it. It has paid for itself. The land used to be for Ghana Export Promotion Authority. I took it, gave them some floors, and then built it. I think I'm told that my time is up. So I've answered that, which is the other question. Teacher training, the lady's question. the quality of a good student is a reflection of the function of a good teacher. But their conditions of service are not the best. Welfare, not the best. So we have to do more. But in terms of pedagogy, Ghanaian teachers are not doing bad at all. They are not doing bad at all in terms of impacting knowledge. There are as good teachers in Ghana as there are anywhere in the world, in any of your areas of study. What we are not encouraging is the abuse, especially the sexual abuse of teachers and students. So we are concerned about that. So, my good friend and brother, I should thank you and thank your audience for being kind and tolerant with me this evening. I'll be back some other day, well prepared. Today, I just came tired from the lunch of a no-fee stress, but I'm sure we've learned few lessons. As I said, I'm joined by Professor Drew and a few more persons. God bless us all, and thank you for the audience.
Thank you very much. Mr. Minister, if you can just, please don't go. Mr. Minister. Mr. Minister, one second. Yes, please. Yes. So we have a present from the school that I would invite the president of the university to do the presentation on behalf of the class.
Call it takuse, and so give him for the gift of the small.
All right, thank you very much. We are very grateful.